Test centers, it has test centers. Like for my case, I was offered Delhi, and I guess Delhi is the only test center which they give. And the test center was also near. I was not given Delhi. I was given Noida. Yeah, Knowledge Park. Certain area was Knowledge Park area was there in which I was given any center. Agrasen College, I remember. So I'm not of Delhi, so it was not easy. I would have to fumble for the traffic. So yeah, test center is in around these NCR regions only. Now, coming ahead with this CIL thing, that is Coal India Limited, PSU of the government. And if you know, it's a Maharatna company. Currently, anyone can answer how many Maharatna India have. If anyone is well versed like current affairs or GS and thing, like how many Maharatnas are there in India? So I guess no one is having any clue of this. So there are actually 12 Maharatnas basically in India, right? And Coal India is one of them. And this is the government of India undertaking, a Maharatna company. So now moving ahead with this, as you can see the Schedule A, it's headquartered in Kolkata and it has a lot of subsidiaries. It has around 8 subsidiaries, which focuses around the mostly the western and eastern part of India. Because you if studied geography very well in your class 10th, or if you have interest in geography, you can know where the coal fields of India are located. Because the area of Jharkhand and the area of Odisha side, they have the mines based on those things. In Bengal also there are mines. So this Jhadia and Raniganj mines, these forms important portion of the coal mining. So the headquarters is in Kolkata. So this was a fact about Coal India. Now, basically, there were these 8 subsidiaries. If you get selected in the Coal India Limited, you will not directly being offered a place at Kolkata CIL headquarters. First of all, there are 8 subsidiaries which CIL has. That is ECL, that is in your Bengal. We has BCCL, Dhanbad, where currently have been posted. We have CCL in Ranchi. We have WCL Nagpur, SCCL in Bilaspur, NCL in Singrauli, MP, MCL in Sambalpur, Odisha, and then comes your CMP DIL, that is in Ranchi. So these are the subsidiaries which are associated with the Coal India Limited, where you will be posted on different areas. When you appear for this exam and get selected in your process, that is your written exam, then you are given a option to fill your subsidiaries and you fill your options. But the subsidiary allocation is basically done based on your merit as well as the seats availability. Because in different subsidiaries, there may be seats vacancy as per your category also. So based on that, you get the allocation of your subsidiary. So these were the slight intro, like where you will get posted and what are the things, how what is Coal India. Now moving ahead with the application form and what's the age limit. So Coal India form is 1180 rupees, and the age limit you can see is upper age limit is 30 years and is a relaxation for the following categories. Now, first of all, this thing for any candidate, it's a really good job for the people who are in the field of law, these PSU exams which are there, because major PSUs you can go through are done by CLAT score only. Suppose you miss your CLAT rank, you have an opportunity to appear for a PSU that two Maharatna if you apply with this Coal India option. So, but there's a we'll say a heartbreaking thing for the candidates, that is the exams are not conducted regularly. Post 2017, this was 2022 only when the exam have been conducted. So there was a gap of 5 years when they took the recruitment. And this time they have even not taken the interview process. Earlier there was a three-stage process. There was a written exam, there was DV, IME, and medical and interview. But this time there was only the this written exam, that is computer based test for the management trainee post, and for after that they were called for the direct document verification and medical, and then on the merit list was prepared and you were offered your recruitment letters. So this was our application process. Now coming to the minimum eligibilities, as in any exam which you go, there's a graduate in law 3 years 5 years, the minimum 60% marks. And as I mentioned also, exams is not conducted regularly, and the paper pattern is also like 100 marks of law, and 100 marks is divided into other 100 marks is divided into four chunks, 25 marks of GS, 25 marks of English, 25 marks of maths, and 25 of logical reasoning. So this paper is not focused 100% on legal, but you have to have a holistic understanding. I'll not say holistic understanding, rather I'll say a comprehensive understanding of the legal portion, also logical portion, also maths. Because after 5 years, we are not connected with the mathematics, and if you are not going through certain practice of those questions, I'll say there might be chance that you're gonna miss those selection. So just try to, whenever exam comes, you have to go through YouTube videos or certain topics of maths and reasoning. And basically, time provided also for the questions is enough because you get an ample amount of time to answer this paper. It's around 200 marks question and all are objectives. So it's a very easy thing, and there's no negative first of all. So you can mark all which every candidate do. There's no negative because there's no fear of losing marks. And the another demerit of this exam is the law subject is not provided very clearly. So if you look in the syllabus, which there are in many other exams, there is no syllabus for the same. They just mention the field of law, but they not put you any syllabus for which you can go to those subjects. You have to rely on the previous year question papers to know which type of question comes and which type of question do not come. So this is the thing which you have to go through. And this time there were 54 vacancies, 21 for 21 they are around general, I believe, 14 were for OBC, and other categories they were respected these things. So these were this. Now coming to the exam pattern, this is a pattern which I was highlighting you, that 25 English, 25 GK, 25 maths, 25 reasoning, 100 law. And there's a minimum qualification also in the individual exam, like paper one, that is of your first four segment, in which you have to score minimum 40 marks. And now coming to your this paper two, that also requires your minimum 40 marks. So this is a chunk of questions, like paper one and paper two of 100 marks each, which will be there. And question will be on in the, it's a MCQ based paper and also computer based exam. So centers will be allotted. And for my case, the center that was allotted to me was in Lucknow only. I chose the center Lucknow. So I went to the Lucknow to give this exam. Now, this was a paper pattern, basically, like what are the chunk of marks distribution for the CIL management trainee legal post. So this was a paper pattern. Now coming to selection process, once you are shortlisted after your written score, then you may be called for DV and IME. However, the brochure maintained for the 1:3 ratio, but when they called it, they called for 1:1 only. They would not call thrice the number of candidates, because generally when you call thrice the number of candidates, it is done in the cases where interview is taken. But here there was no process of interview, so there was a 1:1 ratio only when the candidates were called for DV and IME. Once your CBT, this is computer based test score, comes of your written examination, then your panel, this is a list, merit list is made, and you are sent, which is sent to your email ID also. Our exam was conducted in the month of September, 7th September, but result which came for DVIME were out on the 5th of December. So there's a slight delay in displaying of results, even when they're conducting an online exam. So had it been a pen and paper or OMR based, and it's understood like a slight delay, but for the, because meanwhile gate recruitments were also being done, they were selecting candidates from gates were also, because of that I'll say there was a delay in this selection process. So this was a basically selection process. And now coming to the pay structure, the thing which is fancy for the law students if they want to appear for any PSU or not. First of all, the pay structure, what is there, and how the format is there. Basically, the leaves which you entitled, the allowances which are there. So the basic salary that management training legal gets for the first year of training is 50,000, and there's around 35% or perks of this basic is yours, around 17,000 rupees perks are there. And as you all know, in January this time, central government has increased the DA of central employees to 37.2%. So round around your gross salary would be around 85 to 87,000. And after deductions, be it of income tax and all other things, you will get around enhanced salary of 60 to 62,000 rupees. So this is at the first year of training time. But once your training is completed, then in such cases, you will be promoted to the scale of E3. And after that, your basic will shift from 3,000 to 60,000, and all the allowances and the DA will be calculated on that new basic. So salary increased to 78 to 80,000 rupees per month. So this is our basic. And if you like go through a rough, I'll say CTC, which you all know, like many of those are BTech friends or the other firms also. There's a CTC concept cost to company. So Coal India CTC is around 16 to 18 lakh rupees only. So that's a CTC which company incurs on you. And the postings, as I told you, the subsidiaries, 8 subsidiaries are there. They can post in any of the 8 subsidiaries. So you have to be ready to be working in those fields. You can't say like I'm going in a east location, or being say myself from coming from Lucknow and working in Dhanbad. It's a thing like I'll say transitional place difference, because from Lucknow you're going to Dhanbad, and Dhanbad is a good city, but not being a it's not a capital, and also Dhanbad is a decent state. So this, and the Dhanbad also, the project CIL puts you in basically in the mining sectors only. So the places are adjacent to mines where you have your headquarters and the training centers. So because of that, there's a lot of easy commutations also, and a lot of facilities are not easily available for you guys. That's a certain demerit for CIL also. But yeah, when you get amount and salary and central government job, then surely in that cases you can say these things are very slight things to be considered. Now coming to the legal acts which are important, which is a major chunk which you need to focus. That is the acts which come in the exam. So these are the these are the acts which come in the exam. Although there is a never fixed pattern how many questions might come from the particular act, because every year paper pattern is different. Sometimes there may be labor law domination also. Sometimes there might not be labor law domination, because in 2022 paper which we gave, there was not much domination of labor law. But if you go with the previous paper, 2017 and 2016, in any one of the paper, there was a lot of questions on labor law. So in such cases, then surely it's not easy for us, because we are not studying these labor laws in much detail. So these are the basic subjects which you can go through: contract, constitution, TPA, IPC, SOGA, CPC. In this paper, in our time also, CPC formed a good weightage. CPC, CRPC, around 5 to 6 questions per year from both the acts. So if you are preparing for judiciary, I'll say this paper is a boon for you, because major paper is similar to the judiciary pattern. The procedural law is also dominated here. So you can go through this SRA limitation. And those who are preparing for the, I'll say, LM and CLAT also, they should also give this exam, future vacancy come for that. Because if you look at the questions also in this question paper, any one of you can just message me on my email or on my LinkedIn profile. I'll just shortly provide you the question paper also. You can go to the chunk of questions. The questions are very direct section-based questions. There's not much concept like where is division power mentioned, which section of contract basically is a finder of goods, what is the responsibility of finder of goods like bailier, bailee. So very direct-based questions. And now coming to SRN limitation, I'm personally telling my personal hand experience, which I did. I never studied these laws in holistically. Just the day before exam, I opened a random YouTube video where the sections were being discussed, and I just went to the video and with the Barak index, because I saw the question paper. The questions were coming directly from the section-based questions. And this time, the thing which I missed was the Registration Act, which you should try to study, because Registration and Court Fees Act were also being there. But since I had clarity on Constitution, CFPC, and CRPC and other subjects, therefore the questions which I were not able to answer, they had covered the those questions, or else there might have been a tough chance for me also, but I'm thankful for those subjects variety which I had, which provided me upper hand. Now coming to this labor law thing, see, first of all, I'll also say I've not prepared for any labor law thing, and most of the students who were there were clueless about labor law. These questions were not much dominated because there were around 6 to 7 questions, and since there was no negative marking, you can easily answer any of the questions, and there are always a chance that from 1 to 2 questions, surely you will make correct. So there are being no negative marking, you can go ahead with this examination and try. And first of all, please try to attempt all questions, because I could see, though there are ample time limit involved, many people try to waste their time in maths and reasoning, because of which they are not left with time, and they sabotage their legal paper. So first try to go through with your GK, English, and then legal, and then switch back to maths and reasoning, because maths reasoning should do at end. Because if you invest too much time in maths and reasoning, a legal paper will be sabotaged. So don't try to mismanage your timing, and try to be very careful in this thing. Now coming how to ace this exam. So for this particular exam, I'll say if you're well versed with your concept clarity, then I'll say 2 to 3 months. But if you are not well versed on the core subjects also, like quantity and all things, which I believe none of you would be in such situation, because you're preparing for the CLAT and LM, and the 5 to 6 subjects you surely have an idea, be it constitution, be it IPC, be it your contracts. So on these portions you have a very good idea, and you go through them in exhaustive detail also. So these subjects are a very genesis for you, and you have a very command on them. So do not do better for these subjects. You have to just invest your time in certain other subjects, like those candidates who have the weak procedure laws. They can do a thing is to go through the index or the major chunk of questions, any MCQ book, and through that the major questions are being repeated. They can refer those sections first in hand, then the whole overall reading of the act. Just try to follow a very, I'll say, a safe strategy, not trying to invest your time reading entire CPC, entire CRPC or TPA. Just try to go through with those segment of questions which are maximum repeated. So that will surely give you a weightage. Apart from that, as I mentioned also, like preparing for Clatter Judiciary, this exam is surely for you. And for certain acts, superficial reading, be it, as I mentioned, for the SRA limitation, and those acts doesn't require much reading in detail, because the time limit concept is not there. Like if you go through CPC, they have concept of time limits, like written statement should be filed in stipulated of time, someone should be served in stipulated time. But in SRA and limitation, there is not such thing involved. In limitation, however, you have an entire schedule and articles for that same, but that also very easy to memorize, because if you know the matter based on properties, 30 years, 12 years time is there, and for money suits, 3 years time, contracts, 1 year. So like randomly, you have a certain hierarchy of them, and that can be easily be like answered. So that's not much in detail. Only certain exceptions are there. So you can answer the limitations time limit also, and you have to not focusing on the entire subject. First of all, don't try to invest on labor law. Don't just try to see यार labor law आ गया तो भाई कैसे करेंगे, वो चीज नहीं करनी है. आपको जितना सब्जेक्ट आता है आप उस पर अच्छे से कमांड रखिए. और सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि मेजर लॉ की अंडरस्टैंडिंग अच्छे से आइए. इफ यू हैव वेल वर्स्ड विद द मेजर लॉस, वो आपको कनेक्ट उतना अच्छी कर देगा कि आप सारे क्वेश्चन का अच्छे से आंसर कर सकते हैं. And my first and last advice, as I mentioned, my last second point is be ready for the box of surprises, because questions कुछ भी आ सकते हैं, because syllabus है नहीं. आप कोर्ट फीस पढ़ के गए, कहता कोर्ट फीस नहीं आया हो, आप सीपीसी सीआरपीसी पढ़ के मोनिया कुछ और आ जाए, बिकॉज इन्होंने कोई सिलेबस ही नहीं दिया. द पेपर कैन बी ऑफ एनीथिंग. क्या होता है, कॉर्पोरेट लॉ के क्वेश्चन ज्यादा डोमिनेट कर जाए, because no one studies corporate law in much detail unless those who want to go for corporate law. तो जो भी मेजर कम्पिटिटिव की तैयारी करता है बच्चा वो स्टडी नहीं करता इन सब्जेक्ट्स को. यू हैव टू बी वेरी केयरफुल ऑन दोज सब्जेक्ट्स व्हिच यू वांट टू गो फॉर द एग्जाम एंड उतने ही सब्जेक्ट्स का आपको स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड रखना है ताकि आपका जो स्ट्रॉन्ग होल्ड इन सब्जेक्ट्स पे दैट डोमिनेट्स ओवर दी लैकिंग ऑन योर अदर सब्जेक्ट व्हिच यू डोंट हैव एनी आइडिया. तो आपको वही करना है. आपने अगर मिनर्वा मिल्स पढ़ा हुआ देयर द कांसेप्ट ऑफ हार्मोनियस कंस्ट्रक्शन. So you have to harmoniously construct your good subjects, and you have to try to. You have to use your good subjects as an aggravating factor and your I'll say lacking subjects as a mitigating factor. तो जो बैलेंसिंग होती है रेस ऑफ रेस डिसाइड करने में भी वो चीज जो लॉ के कुछ पोर्शंस है ना वो हमेशा यूज होते हैं. So those things are also applied even in your preparation also. So you have to be very cautious while going through those things. And apart, I also said that ये MCQ की books कुछ होती हैं, you can refer the questions from those books also. And minor laws पे ज़्यादा time लगाने की need नहीं है. Just as I said, a superficial reading. And जो major laws है, उत्तर domination करिए. And the acts which I mentioned, see these acts, you should go through them. And आप Google भी करेंगे तो exam भी या ऐसी sites मिल जाएंगी जहाँ पे acts mentioned रहते हैं, which you have to follow them. So these were the tips for acing this exam. Now coming ahead with the third exam, that is your LU entrance exam. So those who are of UP or nearby belt of Uttar Pradesh who want to study LLM exam entrance also, they have another option of LLM from LU, Lucknow University also. Lucknow University is an old institution. So जो localites basically UP के generally it's preferred by them only. But तो अगर उनके लिए भी अगर cater करते हैं, since I have applied for this LU exam also being in the state of Lucknow, so basically this paper में बहुत easy course है, similar to what is of CLAT and ILI. बस इसमें भी रिसेंट केस लॉ देंगे तो आईएलआई का जितना स्ट्रक्चर है वहाँ का यहाँ का भी बस फैमिली लॉ का थोड़ा सा वेटेज है. So you have a weightage of family law in this, and this is the category wise distribution. So I was ranked 58 overall this exam. There are around 60 seats, and ये exam इतना देर से हुआ था हम लोग का. I remember like we had a CLAT in the month of June, but this University of Lucknow exam was conducted in the month of October, and that time my 3 months of LLM also had been completed. So उस समय बिल्कुल तैयारी भी नहीं थी, and इवन देन ऑल्सो द पेपर वाज क्वाइट इजी. अगर आप तैयारी अच्छे से करेंगे तो आप बेसिक सब्जेक्ट से क्लैरिटी आ जाती है. एंड देयर वाज नॉट मच डिफरेंस इन दिस कोर्स. टॉपर्स और स्टार्टिंग के 5-6 बच्चों को हटा दिया जाए तो नॉर्मल चंक में ही 1 to 2 मार्क्स का डिफरेंस था. तो दोज हु वांट टू स्टडी फॉर एलयू आल्सो दे कैन आल्सो हैव अ गुड लखनऊ के रेसिडेंट हो गया, कानपुर और द बेल्ट ऑफ यूपी और इवन फ्रॉम द दिल्ली एनसीआर रीजन जो वहाँ के अगर दे नॉट लिफ्ट विद एनी चॉइस दे कैन अपियर फॉर द यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ लखनऊ एग्जाम. उसके बाद this is the exam pattern. So it's an offline exam. It's an OMR based paper, and time limit is for 1.5 hours, 2 marks each question. No negative marking here again. And first of all, you will see the number of questions is 100. So total marks is 200. And in 2022, being a Lucknow University exam, also around 1800 students participated in this exam, and the seats were around 60. And highest marks which came was 176. बट अगर आप टॉपर के बाद जब रैंक 3 से लेकर रैंक 10 का स्कोर देखेंगे तो यू विल फाइंड योरसेल्फ देखिए 160 से लेकर 155 ये 150 160 की लाइन में स्कोर आ चुका था. तो वो वेरिएशंस काफी आपको देखने को मिलेंगे. So these are the basic gist of exam pattern, like, and what are the syllabus for the same. So this slide will basically tell you the subjects which you have to study, like jurisprudence, contracts, torts, family law, crime, consti, PI. तो अगर आपने देखा होगा तो ये सब्जेक्ट पैटर्न सारा सेम था एलआई का. जो पी8 सब्जेक्ट्स मैंने लिखे थे वो पी8 सब्जेक्ट्स में कवर भी हो रहेंगे. Only family law is a new addition in this thing because family law के ठीक ठाक questions है. Because I had not much clarity on family law portion because I have not studied much in detail, so I also face certain issue on them. But कुछ core concepts जैसे article section 13 of Hindu Marriage Act हो गया, जहाँ पे void या voidable marriage की बात की जाती है, कुछ sections का आपको idea होता है तो you make them right. But there are also like HSA Act is there, guardianship act is there, so you need to have a understanding for the same. तो उतना आप देख सकते हैं. बाकी टॉर्ट्स के बहुत ही डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस होते हैं कि एब्सोल्यूट लायबिलिटी कौन से केस में है, स्ट्रिक्ट लायबिलिटी का केस क्या है, जिंजर बियर ब्रेड का केस का नाम क्या था. तो दोस कॉन्सेप्ट बेस्ड ऑन डिफेंसेस ऑफ टॉर्ट्स एंड जो भी आपके कॉन्सेप्ट्स हैं स्ट्रिक्ट स्ट्रिंजेंट लायबिलिटी, रिजनेबलनेस, नेग्लिजेंस, ऑन दोस टॉपिक्स बी इट ज्यूरिस्प्रूडेंस में भी आपके तो कॉमन टॉपिक्स जो स्कूल्स के होते हैं, जो स्कॉलर्स हैं. पीआईएल में भी वही चीजें जो डॉक्ट्रीन्स हो गई, जैसे स्टिम्सन डॉक्ट्रीन हो गई, ये स्टारा डॉक्ट्रीन हो गई, कौन से जूरिस्ट ने कौन सी डेफिनेशन दी, व्हाट आर द इंटरनेशनल बॉडीज. तो वो सब बेसिकली क्वेश्चंस हैं. इट्स नॉट अ टफ पेपर. आपने अगर एमसीक्यू बुक्स लगा लिए ना तो आप आराम से क्रैक कर सकते हैं. इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील. एंड सेम द टिप्स व्हिच आई से, जस्ट ट्राई टू फोकस ऑन फैमिली लॉ बिकॉज फैमिली लॉ का अच्छा वेटेज था. यू कांट इग्नोर फैमिली लॉ. नहीं तो आप बाकी में या तो बहुत अच्छे हों बिकॉज कुछ तो क्वेश्चंस होंगे बाकी में भी which you will not being well versed. So you have to being maintaining again a harmonious construction thing. You have to maintain a subject upper hand on the major subjects also and also on family law, and try to practice as much MCQs you can do. So these were the tips basically for the LU also, which I believe you guys follow. It will be beneficial for you if you went to LU. Now coming to the end game, basically the what's the end game strategy for anything? First of all, as I told for ILI, first and I'll say for ILI, if you want to prepare for ILI, past year, previous year question papers is a bliss. If you don't go through previous year question paper, you will surely miss your chance for ILI because a lot of questions are being repeated. I'm telling you from my experience of 2022, मैंने जब 2022 के पहले के 5-6 papers लगाए थे, and when I went to 2022 question paper, I was like shocked to see so much repetition. मैंने even 2021 के question paper जब मैं practice time में भी लगा रहा था, I saw a lot of questions are being repeated. And if you study those questions, you will also know jurisprudence के भी कुछ ही topics से question पूछते हैं, and certain scholars were still repeated. Even 2-3 questions I remember were repeated from the last two or last second year question paper. Like who was a jurist who came up with the concept of on liberty essay, and who was a jurist who came up with the idea of Vogt's. So these questions were repeated. So अगर आप previous year का अच्छे से analyze कर लेंगे, काफी help करेगा. और CIL के लिए अगर कोल इंडिया भी apply करना चाह रहे हैं, whenever vacancy comes, be it CIL or be it or any other place like shipping corporation. So उस cases में आपको वही core gloss पे ही strength रखनी है. You have to practice your previous year question papers. And where you have negative marking, since you all have applied for CLAT also, जो negative marking का जो loss होता है, I guess you guys will know it much detail also because in एक marks गलत होने पे 0.25 भी ranks काफी ऊपर नीचे हो जाती हैं. And this time CLAT 2023 पेपर जैसा आया था जो बिल्कुल अनप्रेडिक्टेबल था, जितना भी recent केस छोड़ के गया कोई काम नहीं आया, बल्कि जो ओल्ड नॉलेज थी, हमारी कोर नॉलेज थी, वही काम आई. तो इन सब चीजों को बचने के लिए यू शुड अवॉइड नेगेटिव मार्किंग ऑल्सो. एंड जो सब्जेक्ट्स आपके वीक हैं उनको आप रखिए. दे आर टू स्ट्रेटजीज. इधर यू इन्वेस्ट योरसेल्फ इन weak area first, then go with the strong areas, or you first strengthen your weak area, strong areas कि कुछ चांस ऑफ उसमें गलती हो ही नहीं, या तो आप ऐसा कर लीजिए. बट कभी कभी दोनों केस पॉसिबल नहीं होते. फॉर इन दैट केसेस माय बेस्ट एडवाइस इज जो सब्जेक्ट्स आपका वीक है उसको एक साइड में रख दीजिए. पहले अपना जितना मैक्सिमम चंक ऑफ क्वेश्चंस मेजर करा सकते हैं बोलवा दीजिए. वीक लॉ को कभी डायरेक्ट बैरक से नहीं पढ़िए. फॉर माय विच आई पर्सनली फॉलो बीट फॉर माय जुडिशियल प्रिपरेशंस और माय अदर एग्जाम प्रिपरेशंस, I those subjects which I find weak, like CPC is a subject which I personally find is weak of mine. So मैं उसके MCQs का पहले रखता हूँ सेट बगल में. Then I keep my बैरक here. तो उससे एक आइडिया था कौन से क्वेश्चंस बहुत ज्यादा रिपीट हो रहे हैं, कौन से क्वेश्चन ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस बन रहे हैं. तो मेजर टॉपिक्स आपको आइडिया लग जाता है उससे विच ऑल टॉपिक्स आर मेजरली आज. देन यू कैन गो थ्रू दोस टॉपिक्स फर्स्ट इन हैंड. बाकी रिमेनिंग टॉपिक्स का बाद में कर सकते हैं स्टडी. और मोस्ट ऑफ द एग्जाम्स यही वर्क भी करता है. जो मेजर चंक होता है क्वेश्चन उसी से रिपीट करते हैं. अब हर सेक्शन से क्वेश्चन नहीं बनता है. इफ यू गो विद कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑल्सो, आपको कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में 360 के बाद 368 के बाद आर्टिकल्स दे रखे, बट सबसे क्वेश्चंस नहीं बनते. प्रीलिम्स में हो सकता है आपसे क्वेश्चंस पूछते हैं, जुडिशरी या क्लैट में किसी में क्वेश्चन आ जाएगा. सीआईएल में भी आ सकता है, बट बहुत रेयर चांसेस है. मेजर क्वेश्चंस विल बी फ्रॉम कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन, फंडामेंटल राइट्स, डीपीएसपी, सेंटर स्टेट रिलेशंस, अमेंडमेंट्स. तो दीज आर सर्टेन कोर टॉपिक्स. अगर जो स्टूडेंट्स से आप पूछेंगे तो स्कूल्स होते हैं, उनके जो प्रोपोनेंट्स हैं, उनकी जो थ्योरीज है, उन पे ही घूम घमा के ही क्वेश्चन पूछेगा. विल नॉट बी एनी क्वेश्चन कमिंग फ्रॉम द आउटर साइड वर्ल्ड. Coming to the PIL also, वही लिमिटेड क्वेश्चन है. कौन से ऑथर था, आर्टिकल 38 ऑफ आईसीजे which tells you about the sources, कौन सा सोर्सेज कहाँ का सोर्स है, कौन से थ्योरी ने सेंसोरियल जुरिस्प्रूडेंस बोला है, which philosopher came up with certain guideline, कौन से कंट्री के मतलब if a the question can be from the international organization जिसका हेडक्वार्टर कहाँ पे. So based on these questions only the entire paper structure for the LU ILI is there. And for CIL you have to go through certain acts and be ready for the box of surprises because उनका कोई syllabus pattern ही नहीं fix है. Because of that you have to be very careful on those things. And this is a slide profile about me. So you can follow me on LinkedIn by searching Aniket Sachan. You can find my photo or DP also there. And that's my email ID, aniket.sachan10. And even I have my own YouTube channel, Aniket Sachan, if you can search on YouTube. So any questions, any queries you can have, you can post me there. So now any students who have any question on the DIA, CIL, LU or ILI, I'll be surely free to answer. You can feel free and I'll just help you guys with that.
Guys, if you have any questions, you can now ask them to Aniket. If you do not have any doubts, please type out here in the chat box.
एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेस सी राइट नाउ द रिक्रूटमेंट्स आर जनरली गोइंग ऑन. सो हम लोग का जब पूरा हो जाएगा प्रोसेस, अभी वी डोंट हैव वी हैव नॉट रिसीव्ड द ऑफर लेटर्स. मे बी बाय टुमारो डे आफ्टर टुमारो, सिंस दैट रोजगार मेला थिंग इज गोइंग ऑन, वी माइट रिसीव. सो देयर इज नॉट अ चांस दैट यू विल गेट अ वैकेंसी नेक्स्ट ईयर बिकॉज 2017 के बाद से 2022 आ रही है. But I believe see lot of people leave coal India also because of the remote postings, because जो major cities के हैं, like example people from Delhi or the NCR region, they get the area like Dhanbad or Singrauli. It gets a very tough time to accommodate in those areas, and you will be a lone wolf because your friend circle, that atmosphere which you are vibe जो होती है, the current youth and the Gen Zs who are always searching for the vibe thing. So वो चीज missing रहेगी. But if you are a aspirant, I believe coming with the Coal India will be a really great thing because आप अपनी judiciary UPSC की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, and it surely help you because यहाँ पे आपको time मिल जाएगा preparation करने का. So in that cases, such PSU thing is a good thing, and I believe recruitment अगर next year नहीं आता है तो by 2 years कर लेंगे because कुछ post like I contacted certain seniors, पता चला था कुछ post अभी भी खाली हैं, and there are certain chances also like those candidates who are being selected this year they might find CIL worthwhile job for them because many candidates search for the growth in that particular area. So agar many candidates are not happy with the post which they get and they want to switch to some other company, then surely a vacancy will be there and form can be there. So in that case, how do we track these PSU vacancies? See, first of all, for this tracking PSU vacancies, I'll say now we all are on social media. So try to utilize social media in a very beneficial way. Try to be active on Telegram groups also. A lot of Telegram groups basically on this government legal job vacancies. आप अगर सर्च भी करोगे गवर्नमेंट लॉ जॉब्स या गवर्नमेंट लीगल जॉब्स करके मिल जाते हैं, तो वैकेंसीज में लगातार लॉ फील्ड से जुड़ी वैकेंसीज आती रहती हैं, न्यूज़पेपर एडवर्टीजमेंट्स. And apart from that, also YouTube can be also a good source if you follow any YouTube channels also. They are like there are certain all India bar channels there which come up with the legal vacancies also. And I'll suggest mark your presence on social media to a utilizing scale. That surely will help you. And newspaper advertisements also help. And last not the least, the presence of your seniors and your peers also surely helps in this thing because अगर आपके दोस्त लोग भी कुछ चीज देखते हो पता. सी मेरा सिंपल माना है दोस्ती उनसे भी करिएगा जो ऐसे दोस्त भी रखिए जो थोड़ा आपको बताएं. दो तरह के दोस्त होंगे, या तो कुछ बताएंगे तो बिल्कुल छुपा के अपना काम करेंगे. सो ट्राई टू हैव पीपल विद देम आल्सो, फ्रेंडशिप विद दोज आल्सो who are much more into the extrovert thing, ना कि अपने तक ही रखने चाह रहे हैं भाई. कंपटीशन हर चीज में रखते हैं. कंपटीशन इज अ गुड थिंग बट जस्ट इफ यू आर ट्रू फ्रेंड यू शुड बेनिफिट एवरीवन. लाइक कोई चीज आ रही है आप साथ में पेयर करेंगे दोनों एक सेम फील्ड में जाएंगे तो उससे अच्छा क्या ही होगा. So try to mingle with these things and try to have a social media presence to surely get an idea about the vacancies. And I hope you guys will surely appear for this ILI, CUET, and the other exams which are in the line for this year. क्लैट तो लंबी जर्नी अभी बाकी है बिकॉज एंड डोंट ट्राई टू बी फील बैड इफ क्लैट में उतना नहीं हो पाई, रैंक नहीं आई. तो बिकॉज दीज एग्जाम्स डजंट डिसाइड योर फेट एंड एट द एंड योर पोस्ट पोजीशनिंग इन एनी PSUs और एनी लीगल फर्म्स डज नॉट डिपेंड फ्रॉम एन LU और एनीथिंग. सो वो चीज कोई तक घबराने की नहीं है. सी ILI डज नॉट ऑफर एनी प्लेसमेंट. प्लेसमेंट या चीज ही NLU तक ही रहती है. ILI में कोई प्लेसमेंट नहीं है. Those who want to have a career in academic field, those who want to become aspire to become assistant professor or have an interest in teaching line, उनके लिए ILI ज़्यादा अच्छी चीज़ है. बाकी जिनको CV based build-up करनी है, they can go with ILI because उसकी reputation काफी अच्छी है. But looking for placements, then ILI is sure not a place to go. For that, you should go for NLS, NLU, NLIU or NLALSAR. Yeah, currently ILI do not offer LLM in corporate laws, but maybe in future they do. Providing total seats, as I far remember, are there around 60 seats only. I'll just need to cross check. I'll let you know. Just drop me message me on my email or on my just LinkedIn profile. I'll just surely cross check because 2-3 एग्जाम्स लगातार इतने दे दिए हैं तो सीट्स का थोड़ा सा वेरिएशन मेरे को भी. आई एम जस्ट नॉट श्योर विद अदर सीट्स बट nearly around 60 seats are there which I can remember recollect. Any other question?
Guys, if you have any other questions, please ask. Otherwise, we are going to end this session because you guys have a class at 7:30 as well. And I think many of you have asked about Coal India Limited vacancy. So I think whatever Aniket has told you about his own preparation journey can equally apply to other PSUs also, right? So
Yeah, sure.
maybe Coal India Limited will not come in the near future, but there are a lot of other PSUs that keep on coming, right? So you can use this information and apply it in any other PSU vacancy that might come. Okay, so all right. Aniket, thank you so much. This was a very insightful session. I'm very sure that we have very few experiences where people come out and talk about how they cleared PSUs or what is the whole process. So I think this was quite insightful. And even with respect to Lucknow University and ILI, I'm sure it will benefit a lot of our candidates because now they are going to be appearing in all these exams. So thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being with us. I think Sukirti has one more doubt.
What kind of work given in PSU? See, basically the works are regarding the compliances, notice, legal drafting, and maybe like land acquisitions are there, or those matters, service related matters, since you are studying labor law, and these are the industries. So basically the Industrial Dispute Act, which you study in your LLB days, so how the compliances are done, what's the issues of gratuity or any other thing are there. There are ADR things which you go like, you all know, these are the corporate institutions. So any matters they are solved through arbitrations. So based on those matters only, you get the work in these legal fields. And I wish all the best also to the other candidates. I hope you get selected in the other PSUs also, and mark your presence on those particular institutions, and shape your career in particular way. And thanks to Team Jury Research also for coming up with the collaborating this event, and so that the other candidates who are looking forward with this session also can get a good knowledge on cracking ILI or LU exam, and cracking even the CIL vacancy if they come up in future. So I really wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Aniket. Thank you, everyone. We are going to close this session now.